Hi everyone and welcome back to Languages with Yuliya. Are you ready to master phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs combine verbs with prepositions and can be quite tricky because their meanings aren't always clear. But don't worry, I've made it super simple for you. I've organized phrasal verbs into categories and written little stories to provide context so you'll understand their meanings and learn how to use them in everyday conversations. Today, we'll explore 6 categories: everyday activities, work and business, relationships, travel, education, and personal actions. By the end of this video, you'll have mastered 50 common phrasal verbs that you can start using right away. So let's get into the lesson. Let's start with phrasal verbs related to everyday activities. The first one is to go out, to leave one's residence, to socialize or have fun. Let's go out for dinner tonight.
Oh, yes. Now go out there and slay.
The second one is to come in, to enter a place. Please come in and have a seat.
I'm all wet. Can I come in?
The third one is to pick up, to collect something or someone from a location. I'll pick up the groceries on my way home.
You've reached Jamie Rellis. I can't pick up the phone right now, but please leave a message and I'll call you back.
Pick up actually has a lot of meanings. For example, learning a new habit or skill. She's been trying to pick up French before her trip to Paris, increasing in speed, quality, or quantity. Sales started to pick up after a new marketing campaign. This phrasal verb is worth exploring in a separate video. The next one is to look for, to search for something. I'm looking for my keys. Have you seen them?
Is it true you're going to look for some kind of monster in Black Lake?
To come back, to return to a place. What time will you come back from work?
Thanks. Go get cleaned up and come back to bed.
Turn on, to activate a device. Turn on the lights, please.
Every time I turn on the telly, she's there in a pink rubber cat suit.
Turn off, to deactivate a device. Don't forget to turn off the TV before you leave.
John?
Turn it off. Turn off the light.
To come over, to visit someone's house informally. Feel free to come over anytime you want.
So my friend tells me I'll come over, we'll watch a movie, hang out.
The next one is to head out, to depart from a place, typically for a specific destination or purpose. We should head out soon if we want to catch the train.
Just head out for the horizon whenever I feel like it.
And the last one is my personal favorite. It's to doze off. It means to fall asleep unintentionally, usually for a short period of time. I dozed off during the boring lecture.
Do you ever doze off on a flight?
Have you ever dozed off during the boring lecture? Let me know in the comments. Now let's read a story using all the phrasal verbs we've learned about everyday activities. As the sun began to set, Sarah decided it was time to turn on the lights in her cozy living room. She didn't want to waste any electricity, so she made sure to turn off the TV before heading out. Tonight she planned to go out with her friends for dinner, but first she needed to pick up some groceries from the store. Before leaving, she reminded her roommate to come in from the garden and lock the door behind her. Later, as she came back home, she realized she had lost her keys and began to look for them frantically. Exhausted from the day, she sat down on the couch and dozed off. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. It was her friends who came over unexpectedly to surprise her. Now let's explore phrasal verbs related to relationships. The first one is to break up, to end a romantic relationship. They decided to break up after years of dating.
That's crazy. Why would I break up with you?
The second one is to make up, to reconcile after an argument. They made up after their disagreement.
What do you say? We all go get something to drink and make up and be friends, huh?
The next one is to hit on, to flirt with someone. He's always hitting on his co-workers at the office party.
Hitting on me in as nice a way as I've been hit on in a long time.
Move on, to proceed from a previous situation, especially a breakup. It's time to move on and start fresh.
Thanks. I'll move on.
To fall for, to develop romantic feelings for someone. She fell for him the moment they met.
Why do we fall for women like that?
To let down, to disappoint someone. I don't want to let my parents down.
I'm not having you let down the whole house.
Cheer up, to make someone feel happier. His friends tried to cheer him up after the loss.
Cheer up. This time next week it'll be chicken dinner.
Talk over. To discuss a problem or a situation, let's talk over the issues and find a solution.
On an empty stomach? No, we'll talk over dinner.
Get along. To have a friendly relationship with someone. Despite their differences, they manage to get along well.
Then the two of you ought to get along just fine.
And the last one in this category is to look after, to take care of something or someone. She looks after her young siblings when her parents are away.
I want to look after you.
What does that mean?
And now let's read a story using all the phrasal verbs we've learned about relationships. Once upon a time, in a vibrant city, Sarah and Tom were deeply in love. However, their relationship started to crumble, and eventually they decided to break up after years of dating. Devastated, Sarah tried to move on and focus on herself. But at work, her colleague Jake kept hitting on her, making her uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Tom struggled to fall for someone new, still holding onto memories of Sarah. His friends tried to cheer him up, but nothing seemed to help. Eventually, Sarah and Tom realized they couldn't let each other down and decided to talk over their issues. Surprisingly, they found they still got along well and decided to give their relationship another chance. They promised to look after each other and make up for their past mistakes. Let's dive into phrasal verbs related to work and business. The first one is to clock in, to record one's arrival at work. Don't forget to clock in when you arrive. The second one is to clock out, to record one's departure from work. Make sure to clock out before leaving for the day.
They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness.
The next one is to fill out, to complete a form or document. Please fill out this form with your personal details.
You just fill out this form, please.
The next one is to head in, to submit something for evaluation or consideration. You need to hand in your assignment by Friday.
Rest. Guys, you need to hand in the assignments or you will fail this class.
To take on, to accept responsibility or a task. She's willing to take on more responsibilities at work.
It's a lot to take on, all of us.
To sort out, to resolve or organize a problem or situation. Let's meet and sort out this issue together.
Yeah, that's what we need to sort out.
To call off, to cancel an event or activity. They had to call off the meeting due to bad weather.
You want me to call off the ceremony for that?
To go over, to review or examine something carefully. We need to go over the details of the project.
That's not right. Let me go over it again, all right?
And now let's read a story about Sarah's workday routines. When Sarah arrives at work, she always makes sure to clock in to record her arrival. At the end of the day, she remembers to clock out before leaving the office. Throughout her workday, Sarah frequently needs to fill out various forms and documents with her personal details. She also has to hand in assignments and reports for evaluation by her manager. Recently, Sarah decided to take on more responsibilities at work to advance her career. When faced with challenges or problems, Sarah knows how to sort them out efficiently. Unfortunately, sometimes unexpected issues arise, forcing her to call off meetings or appointments. Before making important decisions, Sarah likes to go over all the details carefully to ensure nothing is overlooked. Now let's explore phrasal verbs related to actions and decisions. The first one is to look forward to feel excited about something that is going to happen. I'm looking forward to my vacation next month.
I look forward to New Year's.
What are you looking forward to? Let me know in the comments. To come up with, to suggest an idea or plan. She came up with a brilliant solution to the problem.
You come up with some pretty impressive inventions, Tony.
To go through, to deal with something systematically. She went through the documents to find the mistake.
We go through this every other day.
To give up, to stop trying or surrender. He didn't give up despite facing many obstacles.
We never give up. We never quit.
To put off, to postpone or delay something. We decided to put off our trip until the next month.
I told you I put off grad school.
To turn down, to reject or refuse something. She turned down the job offer because of the salary.
You'd have to be crazy to turn down all that money.
Let's read a story. Sarah is looking forward to her upcoming vacation next month. She's been brainstorming ideas for what to do during her time off and finally came up with a brilliant plan to visit the mountains. Before she can fully enjoy her vacation, however, she needs to go through her to-do list and tie up loose ends at work. Despite facing many obstacles, Sarah refuses to give up on her dream trip. Although she initially planned to go this month, she decided to put off the trip until next month to ensure everything is properly arranged. Recently, Sarah received a job offer, but she turned it down due to the salary not meeting her expectations. Let's learn phrasal verbs related to traveling. And the first one is to set off, to begin a journey. We'll set off early in the morning to avoid traffic.
And then we set off and we were there all morning.
The second one is to get on, to enter a vehicle or mode of transport. Please get on the bus before it leaves.
Yes. Get on the boat.
The next one is to get off, to leave a vehicle or a mode of transport. Make sure to get off at the next stop.
Get off the car. Hey.
To check in, to register one's arrival, especially at a hotel or airport. We need to check in at the hotel before 3 p.m.
You know how I like to check into hotels.
To check out is to register one's departure. We'll check out of the hotel early tomorrow morning.
You need to check out of the hotel immediately.
To take off, it refers to the moment when an aircraft leaves the ground and begins its flight. The airplane is scheduled to take off at 10 a.m.
Whatever miles we put on, we'll take off.
And the last one in this category is to touch down. It is the moment when an aircraft makes contact with the ground during landing. The plane will touch down at the airport in approximately 30 minutes.
So when we touch down tomorrow, Big Bird is going to meet Schumann at the airport, huh?
Let's read a story about Sarah's vacation adventure. As the sun rose, Sarah and her family set off on a road trip. They quickly got on their car, eager to beat the traffic. Along the way, they stopped at a roadside diner to stretch their legs and get off for a quick bite. After hours of driving, they arrived at a cozy hotel. At check-in, the receptionist handed over the keys. Exhausted, they settled into their rooms. The next morning, they checked out and went to the airport. They anxiously awaited the moment when the plane would take off. Excitement filled the air as they boarded the plane. After hours in the sky, they touched down in a tropical paradise. And finally, let's learn phrasal verbs related to education. The first one is to drop out, to leave school or college before completing a course. He dropped out of university to pursue his passion.
You guys drop out and be illiterate.
The second one is to catch up, to reach the same level of progress as others, typically after falling behind. I need to catch up on my studies before the exam.
I'm so far behind. I will never catch up to you.
The next one is to fall behind, to lag in progress compared to others. She fell behind in her studies due to illness.
Gosh, I don't want her to fall behind in her studies.
To turn in, to submit homework or assignments. Make sure to turn in your essay by Friday.
I noticed you didn't turn in homework.
To set aside, to allocate time or resources for a specific purpose. I need to set aside time for studying.
Fellas, now the people in New York need us to set aside our differences and work together.
To look over, to review or examine something. Can you look over my essay for any mistakes?
First thing Monday, I'll look over the Whitwer evidence.
To brush up on, to refresh one's knowledge or skills on a particular subject. I need to brush up on my Spanish before the trip.
You brush up on your Spanish, boys.
To pay off, to completely repay a debt or loan. After years of careful budgeting, she was finally able to pay off her student loans. It can also mean to get positive results from an action. The long hours of studying paid off when Jack received top marks on his final exams.
Oz, is this vocal jazz shit gonna pay off or what?
And the last one is to hand out, to distribute something to people. The teacher handed out worksheets to the students.
Okay, so who has material to hand out for next class?
Let's read our final story. Sarah, a college student, was struggling with her coursework and considered dropping out. However, with support from her friends, she decided to catch up on her studies. She set aside extra time each day to go through her notes and brush up on difficult topics. Despite falling behind initially, Sarah managed to turn in her assignments on time. Her professor then handed out additional resources to help the students, which Sarah eagerly looked over. He also put off the deadline for the final project, giving the students more time to prepare. Finally, after weeks of hard work, she felt confident enough to hand in her final project. In the end, Sarah didn't drop out. Instead, she graduated with flying colors, proving that perseverance pays off. Now here is a challenge for you. Write examples of sentences using at least 5 phrasal verbs from today's lesson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next videos.